Some hardcore hand-wringing, even for the liberal media. Republicans gaining momentum with 1 week to go before the midterm elections. And according to some, that is wildly dangerous.
Election day is just days away. At stake, possibly, the future of our democracy.
Democracy doesn't usually die through coups or invasion. It usually dies from within.
The Republican Party is gripped by people who are election deniers.
I don't think we're nearly alarmist enough. I think we need to stop being asleep at the switch and sound the alarm more about what could happen if election denialists are, in power.
Critics calling this out as fear-mongering and liberal cheerleading. Joe Concha, Fox News contributor, media and politics columnist for The Hill, is here. Wowza.
Wowza. That's the word I was going to use, Dagan. Let me see if I get this straight. By the way, this isn't a clip from The View that we're playing or MSNBC. This is CBS News. And for them to be pushing this sort of rhetoric when they say that the Republican Party is full of election deniers, have they met Hillary Clinton and Stacey Abrams? Because I believe they had rejected the results of their elections. And if we get this straight now, Democrats appear to be saying if people vote against their party in districts and states across this country 1 week from now, and the result means a change in power in Washington from the Democratic Party to the Republican Party, that's the end of democracy as we know it. No, actually, voting is the very essence of democracy. And I have a very hard time believing that this is really resonating with independent voters or blue dog Democrats who may be on the fence as far as how they're going to vote 1 week from now. Because if anybody thinks that people will say, I'm really struggling to pay for food and clothes and my rent and my home heating and electric bills right now, and I don't feel as safe in my city or town as I used to just a couple of years ago, but you know what? Screw that. I'm going to vote to save democracy instead. It's some of the best unintentional comedy out there. And if that's the closing argument for the blue team and their allies in the media, they are in serious, serious trouble come November 8th.
I wrote down virtually what you said just in my thoughts. So democracy at work, when people exercise their right to vote and vote based on the issues that matter to them, inflation and the economy, democracy at work is a risk to democracy. And that's what Jerry Baker gets to in his column, is if you want to talk about denial, it's denial by the Democrats who've been in power, the executive branch and the legislative branch, for over a year and a half. Their denial that not only they created these problems, but there is a problem at all.
Right. It's like being an alcoholic and not admitting the first step, which is, you have a problem. That's the only way you tackle something like this. But you look at Georgia, for example, and you see that they're again voting in record numbers. And yet the Democrat running for governor down there insists that voter suppression is still happening, despite people getting to the polls and getting there quite easily without anybody being suppressed. So, again, it's getting boring now at this point when they keep screaming this over and over again on other networks and yet really don't have anything to back it up. Now, do they? So here's where we are, and this is why you see the momentum behind Republicans, because they're talking about things that matter to people, not just inflation and crime, but the border, immigration, and education. Dave.
I overheard somebody in the street of New York a week ago say, inflation destroys society. And that really stuck with me. So speaking of destruction, critics lighting up the View hosts over the Halloween Day show, accusing the show of using children in costumes to mock Republicans with the midterms 1 week away. And the hosts, oh boy, they were eating it up.
One of the hugest topics that you guys talked about this year, the raid on Trump's Mar-a-Lago estate.
Yes.
Top secret documents. What did he do? He flushed him down the toilet. So we have Trump as a toilet with our FBI agents. Here we have our Dr. Oz and his protege. We've got the broccoli and the salsa and guacamole and asparagus and Dr. Oz and his supermarket scrubs.
Critics lashing out, calling the spectacle insane and deranged. Joe, what say you?
Oh, this is Trump derangement syndrome times 10. I mean, it's sick, actually. I mean, I have a first and a third grader that did their Halloween parade yesterday, and I didn't see any dressed up as FBI agents. Using these little kids like they're props to make a political statement and somehow thinking this is funny. And ABC continues to keep this train wreck of a show under its news division. You can see why Meghan McCain left and has almost nothing good to say about her experience there. It's not just political debate and disagreement anymore. It's a hate fest, and it's a boring one that I would think it's become the one thing that Barbara Walters didn't want this show to become. Unpredictable, right? It's become predictable, and it's co-hosted by some of the most unlikable people on the planet. So congratulations to you, another black eye.
I was thinking 2 years ago, if a couple of kids had dressed up as members of law enforcement, oh my word, their heads would have exploded, and they would be talking about child abuse. Oh, or what if someone this year dressed up as John Fetterman, Oz's opponent?
Great point.
I button it up with that. Joe Concha, thank you so much. Good to see you, my friend.
Always a pleasure, Dagan.
Hi, everyone. I'm Brian Kilmeade. I want you to do me a favor. I want you to click to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page. This is the only way that I know for sure that you're not going to miss any great commentary, any great news bites, any great interviews coming your way on Fox. You can get it all here on YouTube. So subscribe right now.